Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to Untangled. What if I just sang through this entire Untangled? Welcome to Untangled, episode 138. So good to be here with all of you. We made it through another day. We made it. We're humaning so great. We're humaning so great. Hi, Paula. If no one's told you today, you're doing an amazing job humaning. Welcome to the human experience as a soul, fragmented aspect of God inside a dense physical form, agreeing to go through this evolutionary shift in consciousness where you forgot everything. Oh, thanks for reading the book, Little Box Thoughts. Dude, my book, The Divine Design, I don't have it with me here next to me, but if you have not read my book, The Divine Design, go get it. It will change everything. It will shift how you see this planetary experience. It's almost like these memories, these ancient asleep memories come alive when you start to read the book. It's about the history of you and the planet, this entire experiment that we are in, the evolution in consciousness. It's good to be here with you guys. Thanks for joining Untangled. I show up every Tuesday, 9 a.m. California time, and I chit chat about whatever it is that is most prevalent to me in my evolutionary shift in consciousness, which may be correlated to what you are going through, because we are all in this chaotic, beautiful, mind-blowing, quantum, cosmic shift. So welcome. That is my introduction to the Untangled series today. You guys, I'm in Italy. I am on a 10-day trip with some girlfriends before I head into a pretty deep dive fast for 3 weeks with Jesus. So next Tuesday, I will be 3 days just because, Paula, just because I love you. Just because I love you. Next Sunday, I'll be starting a 21-day fast, spiritual fast. Well, fast, water fast, but a spiritual fast, going into some deep training with Jesus. So looking forward to sharing that with you guys. Next Tuesday will be, 3 days. I'll probably be dying, but such is life. So yes, I am here in Italy, and I wanted to share a little bit about some stories that I have and how it correlates to what you may be going through. So I was just sharing this on Instagram. I sat and kind of tapped into the collective field this afternoon. It's 6 p.m. for me here. I wanted to tap into like what we might be experiencing right now as a collective. And so here's what came through for us today. After this full moon lunar eclipse and these beautiful energies that are just continuing to like blast us into a deeper state of embodiment, connecting deeper to God. The first thing is your intuition is getting stronger. All these things that start happening to us, they're not something that you can do. Like you could try and go take classes and like activate this and open up this. But your body's going to do it when it's naturally ready. That's the thing about the evolution that humans don't like, is when your body's ready to open up the pineal gland, it's going to do that. Like your body was designed perfectly to navigate the evolution in consciousness, which is a shift in frequency. So your body knows how to do this. It's going to guide you. It's going to say, hey, don't do this. Hey, stop eating this. Hey, start drinking this. Like it's going to intuitively guide you, which is why your intuition is getting stronger and stronger, so that you can back off trying to control everything the way you want it to go and allow that intuition. Now, your intuition is uniquely connected to the energy of your body. And so the energy of your body is, hold on, the energy of your body is increasing. So you're stepping out into the world every day, becoming, whether you're aware of this or not, more alive, more vibrant, more in a feeling state, not emotions necessarily, right? But of vibratory, more of a vibrational state. And as that vibrational state increases, when you walk out, whether you feel that higher vibrational state, it's not so much like, oh, I'm going to be positive all the time because I'm in a higher state. It's a feeling, like you're going to feel energy more. You're going to feel wonky more. You're going to feel disconnected more. You're going to feel aligned more. Whatever you're in, you're going to feel it more. That's what happens when your frequency, when the body increases in frequency. You feel everything more intensely. Right? Does that make sense? So you're becoming more aware of what you're feeling. You can't miss it. When you're hanging out with friends, family, coworkers, strangers, when you're walking into places, whatever it is, okay, it's going to intensify, which means you're going to feel it more. If there's a weird energy between you and someone, you're going to feel it more. And you're going to, when you start feeling energies more and more with other people and with the world and with, you walk into stores or whatever it is, right? It's like energetic gymnastics. It's like the best way to describe it. It's energetic gymnastics where you're like, what is this? Whose is this? Is this mine? Is this theirs? Do I respond? Do I not respond? How do I like channel God through me so that I can be more loving and compassionate? Right? So you're doing all this mental gymnastics because you're feeling the energies swirling around in what you're in, right? Because every interaction and engagement is energies swirling around. It's fascinating. Pay attention to it more and more. So your body is, it's like it's just slowly increasing a little more and more in frequency, right? Then your intuition is starting to turn on more and more, which means, and this is the biggest point that I wanted to get to for you guys, and then I'm going to start my stories. As the body increases just a little bit and a little bit, and it becomes louder out there, the intuition is getting a little bit stronger. So now you're able to sort of, you're you can just feel what's happening more and more, which isn't always good. It doesn't always feel good. Um, but you just know things. You're starting to know things more and more because the aspect of you, the soul, is turning on in a way more and more. Again, not because you're doing it, because it's just natural. When the soul starts to turn on a little bit more, the soul is what is designed to guide you. The soul, it's in the body. The soul's designed to guide you. And the soul is designed to be divinely plugged in to God. Okay, so the soul's inside of you. It's what chose to incarnate. It's going to guide you. It wants to guide you. It's going to become more of the guider of your life. But it has to align and connect into, it has to plug into this universal source. Essentially it is, but we are so disconnected that we have to start to bring our conscious awareness to plugging into source. And that is why this spiritual battle is so crazy and intense right now, because when you walk outside or when you open your eyes, you are pummeled with distraction. You've got a phone, you've got a computer, you've got a job that's online, you've got Zoom meetings, you've got this, you've got that, you've got YouTube, you've got podcasts you have to catch up on, you've got courses that you have to follow up with because you haven't done the 7 courses that you've already purchased, right? Like there's always something that's going to bombard your attention. It's distraction. And so, as more and more of this is flooded into us, as technology advances, and we become more and more disconnected from the organic, embodied soul state that we're designed to be in, the harder it's going to be for us to come back into that really organic, aligned state with soul plugged into God. And so, what we have to be aware of is, if this is about letting soul guide me, which it is, that means that soul, right, which is an aspect of God, which is plugged into God, is going to do it very differently than how you've been doing it. It requires a lot of humility for us to sit back and sort of surrender to this idea that maybe I don't know how to do this. Um, Maybe I'm not the one that should be in charge of making every single decision right now. Maybe the I that's making all of these decisions that I think are really good is not aligned with soul or universal source, God. And can we be humble enough to say that might be true? And I think that is an extremely important part of what's happening for a lot of us right now. Is if we can be humble enough to understand this, we'll start recognizing that we're continuing to loop the same things over and over and over. And it's really, truly, it can be a quick lens shift, right? If you're like, well, how do I know? What would God or source or soul do in this? Soul, where would you want, how would you make this decision, soul? And beginning to try to connect, God, how would you make this decision? How would you respond? Not how would this teacher, or how would my friend, or how would my parents, or how would this whatever, but how would God or the soul inside of you, how would it respond? And the more that we do that, the more we realize how difficult that is, because of all the distractions. Because we're going to hear other people's opinions, we're going to hear other people's teachings, we're going to hear the person's podcast we were just listening to about whatever else was happening. It's so loud that to come back in and try to align and connect, it becomes more difficult. It gets louder and louder. And so we have to recognize, be aware of what we are currently in. So your soul's coming online naturally. Your soul is going to try to plug your awareness into this like overarching source, which is God, so that God starts to move through you as you, and it turns on soul, and soul starts to try to guide you, and you start hearing and feeling soul, God, more. One, naturally, because your body's increasing, right, in that energy field. So you're feeling more. Your intuition is increasing. So you're going to start hearing more. And you're going to be getting these little God winks or soul winks where it's like, hey, you might want to turn this off now, right? Hey, don't go on your phone right now. Hey, I need you to go sit outside for 15 minutes. Typically, God or source, your soul, it's going to ask you or guide you to do things that you're not going to want to do. It's going to be the opposite of what feels normal, because it's trying to break you out of um, the very conditioned and comfortable ways that we've been. And if you're granted or gifted with these opportunities to really step out of these more comfortable knee jerk reaction ways, you'll catapult more into these like God-like states or soul-like states more and more. So it's happening for a lot of people right now. It's uncomfortable. It's weird a little bit, because you've never done this before, really, right? You have to let go of absolute control. You have to start, in my opinion, asking for guidance, asking for assistance, asking soul, asking source, asking God. um, I truly believe that we have to stop thinking that we can do this on our own. You know, I really believe that we are in such an intense spiritual battle, that it's going to be more and more difficult for us to do it on our own. So we have to start asking for guidance from within and without, meaning God outside of us, soul within us, whatever that looks like to you. God consciousness within you, but you have to start to recognize that separation between who's actually making these choices in your life, and playing in that and having compassion in that. Um, it's life changing. It's been life changing. Um, okay, so I want to share a couple stories. So I'm in Italy and I'm doing a little 10-day trip with my girlfriends before I go and dive into some real deep inner fasting. And we were staying at this Airbnb across from this really big church in Palermo, this really big cathedral in Palermo. And we walked into the church one morning, and the morning before, no, I'm sorry, we didn't walk into this church. It was a different church. We walked into this other church down the street. My girlfriend's like, "Oh my God, this church looks amazing. We got to go to this church." Um, and so um, we walk into this church. It's a beautiful, beautiful church. And there's this painting up on the wall, this mural, not even a mural, it's a painting, a beautiful painting. And I would show it to you guys, but I don't think you'll be able to see it. I don't think you'll be able to see it. Um, well, let me try. Let me try. Anyways, it's this big painting up on the ceiling. Let me see if you guys can see this. I don't know if you can see it. Anyway, this is kind of like God, right? This beautiful, bright, huge light. And you've got like all these angels all around here. And then this is like darkness, and then like demonic stuff. So it's the first thing I see, right? I'm looking up and I'm like, oh my God, this is literally the depiction of the spiritual battle we're in right now, is this awareness of light and dark. Now, for those of you that are wanting the more quantum perspective, yes, light and dark come from the same source. Okay, correct. But when you live on a planet called Earth, there is duality. So there is an infiltration, there is demonic energies, there are energies that are controlling humanity. There is evil. You can still say, well, it's all just energy. Okay, correct. And then you can also start to just point out what humans are experiencing in a third dimension, which I think is extremely important to do. So you have this overarching source light consciousness that has created all of this, right? And there's an aspect of that God consciousness, source consciousness inside of you, and it's literally trying to come onto the planet and awaken humanity, right? Because even though we know that we have a spark of consciousness in us called God, that doesn't mean that we are living godlike. It's just us saying, I am God. God's within me. I have everything I need. That doesn't matter if you're not actually consciously choosing to live as godlike as possible. It's just another thing that isn't actually manifesting in reality. So when we start to realize that something needs to actually sort of light this up, in my opinion, this picture is sort of showing this overarching light source coming down. There's all these angels that are coming down with it, all these different types of angels that are playing a massive role in our evolution, right? God is coming down massively. These angels are all around us, like with their beautiful wings and swords, just trying to get the darker energies sort of out of our fields, out of our minds, etc., out of our bodies. And then you have the underbelly of in the picture, and it was really demonic, dark energies. At first, it was like kind of like human bodies, and then it sort of dissolved into, it kind of moved into just like darkness, just the energy of darkness. What is that? Oh, I popped open my arm. The energy of darkness. And the darkness was trying to come up and push up. The light was trying to come down and come down and like destroy, like push it, merge it into the void. And that is exactly what is happening right now on this planet. That is the moment we're in right now. So it becomes dissecting, well, what is that light to me? What's that light to you? What's the label we use, right? We can get really caught up and create massive divide over different types of religions, different words, right? I use this word, I use God, I use source, I use universe. We could probably all come to an agreement that it's this massive light, right? That is. And so again, this infiltration that's happening on the planet, when I looked up at this, is like, wow, the more that we are kept in that argument and divide, the more that we will stay in the story, because all we'll be doing is battling people inside the story, instead of stop battling each other and just start to bring this godlike consciousness into our bodies. Because as we bring this godlike consciousness more and more into our bodies, as we ask for this godlike consciousness to come into our bodies, it literally is what will save us and push out these demonic dark energies that have been taking over the planet for 5,000 years, that you don't even know is doing it. You can't even see it, right? So you may be listening to something and there's these infiltrations coming in, right? You may be moving towards this goal that you have, and you don't even realize that you're playing in an energy that isn't for your highest good. Like maybe it's not about making more money. Maybe it's about letting God move through me in my breath and relaxing a little bit more. Maybe it's slowing down more instead of continuing to move towards more and more and more. When God starts to move through us as this incredible light and breath, how we see the world changes. So anyway, so there's this beautiful dark, light and dark picture. Okay. So we walk into this thing, we see it, we go up towards the top, we see that the most of the church is kind of closed off, so we can't like walk straight down the aisle. We veer over to the right, and we notice there's a wedding that's about to happen. We're like, oh my God, there's a wedding that's going to happen. This is so bizarre. Like we're right here. And then all of a sudden, as we start to realize this wedding's about to happen, the Pacabella, whatever song that is that a lot of women walk down the aisle with, that song came on. I think it's Pacabella. I don't know. Maybe I'm saying it wrong. You know that song? Do, 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 do. You know that song? Singing it wrong. I know. Anywho, that song comes on and we're like, oh, this is so beautiful. It was so beautiful. It was love and light and gorgeous and God everywhere. And it was just so, we were crying. We watched the Pacabello Canon D. Thank you guys. We watched the bride come down. It was just really beautiful. And we were so grateful that we were able to, like, literally within 10 minutes of walking in, that song starts to play. And we're just like, oh, what an absolute gift, to be able to witness this and to feel it. And okay. So then the lady's like, would you like to see the museum and blah, blah, blah. We're like, sure. They're like, okay, it's €5. And we're like, all right. And so we pay the woman €5 and she takes us around and to the back of the church, like in this we open up a door, we go into the back of the church basically. And there's a guy there, and he it's all a blur to me because it was so gnarly, but he's like this way. So he walks us into this back area and he opens up these doors. They call it the meditation. No, they call it the museum, this room. It was a museum for sacrifice of bodies of humans. So there's 2 other girlfriends of mine. My one friend was like, she couldn't she when he opened the door, she literally gasped almost and just stepped back. Like she couldn't even the energy, the dark energy coming from that room, she wasn't even gonna go in. My other girlfriend and I were like, "Oh my god." So we started to walk in, and it was so dark. I'm talking evil darkness. And there were these white, almost pope-like dressings hanging on hangers. There were weird artifacts on the walls, and then right directly in front of us was this huge chair that you could tell had been sat in for a very long time. Like it had a massive indention, and it was right up on the altar next to the cross with Jesus. And my whole body, I was literally sick to my stomach. And I could see flashes of things that I don't even want to tell you guys, but I started seeing flashes of like what happened in that room. And it was like, even right now, as I think about it, it was nauseating. I was like, oh my God. And so I was like, "Tina, let's leave," right? And so we left, and there were a couple of other places, like, behind in the this is in the back of the church, a beautiful weddings in the front, right? This beautiful light and love and God is in the front, and we take 3 turns, and we are in this real heavy darkness. Same building. And then we go to this area called the meditation room, which was also the corpse area. I think they called it the corpse area or something. And it's like you walk down these stairs and you go into like a cave-like area, musty, dark, and we start to go down into it, and it was creepy, like evil, not good. This was not a holy area at all. And you could tell that there were like places within the cave walls that like you would place things or put bodies, or I don't know what they would do. Um, and it just went for, I don't know, we maybe walked like 3 or 4 minutes, not maybe in like 3 minutes, but it was a lot, right? Like there was a big area down in the cave like area. Like you would not know it was there unless the door was open. Like it's not like it was a room. You went down. And again, really creepy. Like your whole body was like goosebumps, get me out of here, creeps. And so we head out of the whole area, and we go back out into the front of the church, and we're like, and then here's this wedding about to end, right? So they're saying it was like 3 minutes left of the wedding. And that dichotomy of that, right? The light and the dark in the same room, that you could walk into one room and it was beautiful love, like just celebration, and it felt so beautiful. And then literally turn the wall, the walkway, go down the hall, and there is some pretty dark evil right there happening. And there's layers to this story, right? And again, it's depicted on the ceiling of the church too, right? Where there's this light fighting the dark. Um, again, like we can't see the darkness. We don't really see what we are up against, even if it's in the same room. And the the way that the church has been taken over by that darkness is what really saddens me. The way that Jesus has been taken over by that darkness really saddens me. The way God, that beautiful light that shines down on us, how that has been taken over by the dark really saddens me, because that dark energy infiltrated the churches. That dark energy infiltrated Jesus's purpose. That dark energy infiltrated saying the word God. People can't even say the word God because of the infiltration of these energies that have been in these areas, not just churches. They're everywhere. They're in Hollywood. They're in the government. They're everywhere. But you can't see them. And so the beautiful piece around this is beginning to bring our awareness to when am I in throughout my day, right? Am I choosing compassion, love, divine connection to that light? Or am I resistant, restricted, tight, angry, aggressive, rude, mean, judgmental, gossiping, greedy, like starting to really fine tune those things, because it is that darkness that we felt in the church, that darkness that we saw up on that painting, right? That we will find in our own reaction and responses in life, because those energies are infiltrating us all the time. This isn't a scary thing. This isn't a bad thing. This is a very empowering thing, because it brings us closer to the solution, the way through this, right? Which is we need that higher light. We need it because we can't see what is pulling us. We can't see what we think, oh, this feels so good, it's got to be okay. And then it pulls us farther from that divine connection to God. Okay. And you guys know that I'm like a big fan of Jesus now. And a lot of my followers are not super happy about it, but I think he's been infiltrated, obviously. And I think he's one of the greatest benefits of this time right now. So that whole thing happened. Okay. So it's almost like you could see the infiltration. Um, we could really see it. It was not only visually like in a painting, but just in one room, we could stand in both, in that duality. Okay. So second story. I carry around a photo of Jesus with me, a framed photo of Jesus with me on this trip, because I am going into a real deep training with him after this trip with my girlfriends. And so I like looking at it. I like having it available. We are staying at an Airbnb. The Airbnb, we had a debacle with one Airbnb, so we checked out of one Airbnb, and the same night we found this Airbnb. So we were able to check into this Airbnb late at night. We didn't really read the rules and regulations, and so we didn't know that there was a $200 cash deposit for the garbage stuff here. So when we were checking in, the owner's like, we need a $200 cash deposit. We were like, we don't have cash. Like we only use our credit cards when we're traveling for the most part. And he's like, that's fine. No problem. I'll come back tomorrow and get cash, And anyway, we were not happy with having to go get cash. We didn't really want to go get cash. So we were just hoping that somehow we wouldn't have to engage and it would just kind of go away. So yesterday was our third night at the Airbnb, and our internet wasn't working. And so we called the owner and we were like, hey, the internet's not working. And he's like, don't worry, I'll be right over and I'll just pick up the $200 cash. Here's the link to where you can go to get the cash. And we were, we had a heyday of frustration, anger, judgment. Um, you name it. We were like, we're not paying him $200. We'll just give him, we'll tell him that we just have a credit card. He can take, we just got really aggressive with how we were going to respond. We got really angry. we we did not come from compassion or love or the way like Jesus would be in this, or any godlike response. It was not pretty. So we are preparing for battle. We're like, we're going to go into battle with this guy. We are not giving him this $200. Like, shame on him, like, for even asking us. Like, he can just take the credit card, blah, blah, blah. I mean, listen, sometimes the humaning is real. So he and his wife pull up an hour later. And honest to goodness, I am not happy. I'm kind of like, I'm restrictive, I'm tight, I'm not open, I'm not loving, I'm not in my heart. I'm annoyed. I got like slapped in the face last night. So she comes up, she's beautiful Italian woman, so sweet, trying so hard to speak English so that we can understand her. And she's telling us what they're going to have to do. And he comes in, the husband, and they're like, we have to go upstairs. So my room is on the above the house, like kind of almost like an attic, but it's outside. You have to walk outside. So they're like, we have to go up to the upstairs room, which was my room. And we had to fix the internet up there. And so Kyla and my other girlfriend, Tina, they follow the husband and wife upstairs. And I was still so resistant, you guys. I was like, I'm not going. Like, literally, there are moments, there are lessons that I get that are so like embarrassing for me, because I'm like, I can't believe I responded this way. But if I wasn't authentic and humble with how I responded, I would never learn. I would never grow. I would, if I never saw the gift of what last night gave me, what's the point, right? So I'm stubborn and I've got my hands like, I'm not going. I'm just annoyed. Okay, so I get up to go grab some water and I hear my girlfriend say, Lorie, get up here right now. She has the same Jesus photo as you. And I'm like, what? So I walk up the stairs and this woman, the wife, is like, her jaw is dropped. It's a very unique picture. And she gasped when she saw that photo. And she said, oh my God. And she looked at me like she loved me. And she just was like, that's your photo? And I said, yeah. He healed me 25 years ago. Jesus healed me. She goes, I had a tumor in my head. And she goes, one night I got on my knees and I prayed to Jesus to heal me. And he healed me. And she was showing me where the tumor is. She goes, all my symptoms went away. All my sickness went away. She says, but the tumor stayed. She says, Jesus said that it's all gone. The tumor can stay. And she says, and I was praying to that picture when I got healed. And I, of course, just am like, my heart just, of course, Jesus did. Of course, Jesus is sitting in the room. Of course, Jesus is like, see, Lorie, this is how you're supposed to be, full of love. And like, everyone in the room is just like, you can't help but have your heart just burst. She's starting to cry a little bit. I'm starting to cry a little bit. Like, we walk over to the picture. I'm like, where'd you get the picture? We are in Sicily, right? And we're in like the southwest part of Sicily. And she got the picture at the big cathedral in Palermo that we were staying across from. So we stayed right across from this big church in Palermo. She got the picture from that church. And she says, but mine's really big. And I said, well, were you a follower of Jesus before that? She goes, yeah, most of my life. But she says, but I had never prayed for a healing. And she says, and I was like, well, like, what's it like? And she's, what was it like? What's your relationship with Jesus? What's it like? Because what I will say from what I always try to get across about Jesus, it's not a religion. Jesus is not a religion. Jesus is a relationship. And to be able to get that across to people is really, really challenging. But this woman, I said, tell me what happened, what it was like. And she goes, well, when he came in and he healed me, she said, there was a serenity that came into my life, a peace and a calm. She said, my life was forever changed. She said, I saw life differently. And if you've had that experience with Jesus, you know exactly what she is talking about, because that is exactly what Jesus does. Jesus comes into your life, not because you're disempowered, not because you can't do it on your own, not because you're less than, because it's what he wants to do. He wants to show you how life is designed to be felt, seen, heard, experienced, lived. And when she was explaining how her life had changed and how she sees it, I again started to cry. She was crying because we both knew that we knew Jesus, that we both had that in us. And we just were like in love with each other. And then my girlfriends were like, they were in love. The father was in love. It was a big love fest of like, this is what Jesus does. We weren't sitting at a cross, trying to be like, I have all this sin, please take my sin. I need my saving, like all these ideas that people have around Jesus, which is really part of the programming, is not Jesus. It's not even close to Jesus. Most people that have a disdain for it or any of it, they see a picture of Jesus and they're repulsed. It's because they've been, unfortunately, programmed by the dark energies that I saw at that church. That's why people don't like Jesus. That's why people have they have their opinions, their knee-jerk reaction, because those energies that I saw in that church infiltrated the entire storyline, really, of him and what a relationship can do and how brilliantly beautiful it is. So anyway, she grabs me, gives me these Sicilian kisses. I grab her like she is the greatest thing ever. My girlfriends go in for hugs and kisses. The man goes in for hugs and kisses. I mean, we are literally hugging and kissing in a group now. It has turned from these people are not going to give their $200 to like, we all love each other so much. Let's have a slumber party. And then she says, we don't need the $200. It's fine. It was just like a nonchalant, like, we don't need the $200. It's fine. Just give us there was like a tourist fee or something. Right. And I'm just looking over at Jesus, like, of course, you don't need the $200 anymore. Like, of course I was a brat and I was not compassionate and I was not loving and I was the opposite of your energy. Right. And so here we are in my room in this attic. They're fixing the Wi-Fi. This lady's had this profound healing. We are all just so open, loving, expansive. This picture of Jesus, and he's just kind of smiling and laughing and winking because he knows that he created the entire experience. And I'm like, this is why I love Jesus. This, for these moments. Not so that I can bow down to some man who's going to tell me how bad I am and that I have to repent for all my sins and that that I need saving and the judgment that doesn't even exist in my reality with Jesus. Not even close. Every experience I've ever had with Jesus has been like that or better in my own world or in the external world. And so the power of those two stories amplifies for me what's happening on the planet and the power for me of continuing to invite Jesus into my life and to show me how to better myself and be more godlike. And when I do that, I don't need as much from the external world. There is a peace within me. So, the third story I want to share with you guys, which I did share in my newsletter, is this story. So, I was sleeping upstairs. I had my picture of Jesus. I've been hanging out with my girlfriend, so I've been pretty disconnected from God, pretty disconnected from Jesus, just meaning like I'm not hearing God or Jesus as much because I'm playing and having fun and being in life, and it's just more difficult for me. And prior to get coming on this trip, I've been very disciplined with Jesus because I'm about to go on a deeper sort of um, intensive journey with Him in the next couple of weeks. And so I was laying in bed the other night up there, and I was feeling very alone. I was feeling scared, sad, alone, lonely. I didn't know how I was going to do this 21-day water fast. Like I knew I was doing it so that he and I could do what we're going to be doing next together. And so I just, I felt completely isolated, disconnected from him, and just kind of scared. Like, how am I going to go into this next phase, this next 3-week water fast phase, right? Alone, feeling like I need to feel that connection. I need that. Um, and a lot of people would say, well, that's the problem. You shouldn't need anything outside of yourself. And I don't buy it anymore. I'm all in for the outside external. You know, it's funny. I watched somebody's Instagram story the other day, and it was all about how, God's inside of you. You need nothing. And yet this person is selling, $5,000 retreats to show them how they need nothing, that they just need to go inward and find God inside. And I'm like, but like you're you're like shouldn't I don't understand. Like he was this person was getting very angry, or you could tell he was very upset over the fact that people believe that God is outside of us, because we shouldn't be going outside of us to find God. We shouldn't be praying and looking up type of thing. And I'm like, but so they go to you? Then they just give you the power. Like, what's the difference? You know? So when people get triggered by me saying like, no, I am calling this in, I'm inviting this in, I am asking for that guidance, I am asking for that support, I am asking for it, how is that any different than me paying someone $3,000 for a retreat they're going to take me on, or a workshop? Or how is that different? Like, I really don't understand that disconnect, because essentially, if I use Jesus, who doesn't charge me anything, he's going to show me within me what I have. He's going to show me God. He's going to show me peace. If I go to this person's workshop, essentially, he's promising me the same thing. So why wouldn't I just use Jesus? Why do I need to pay someone to do it? And isn't it essentially the exact same thing? So that argument really triggers me, as you can tell. It really bothers me because people are making it wrong. Like if let's say that you're sort of on the verge, right? You're on the line of like, well, everyone's saying that God's in me and I shouldn't need to ask for help. So then you don't ask. And then you stay in your own suffering. Or you start paying all these people all this money to help you and it doesn't really work. And I'm like, yo, I just go to Jesus and I'm like, yo, Jesus, come in and help me. Like, I need to feel the peace, the calm, the connection. I need a straight line into plugging into God. And Jesus is like, I'm here. Boom, let's go. And it's like, boom, thank you so much. Is there a difference? I don't think there is. I think that argument is the divide that we get to stay in argument to so that we don't actually just plug in and say, yay. Point is, I'm laying in bed. I got off tangent. Point is I'm laying in bed and I'm feeling this disconnect. I'm feeling anxiety. I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. Like the water fast is all about you and I, Jesus, like diving in, writing this book. Like, where are you? So I'm curled up in a ball and I'm like, yo, Jesus, like I need to feel you right now. And I'm like, I really need to feel you. And sometimes when I tap into Jesus, if there's a lot of other energies around me from other people or experiences, I can feel like there's a haze. Like there's something that he's trying to move past to get to me, like get stronger. So I could feel that he was in the room, but I still felt like he was distant. And I was like, please, Jesus, I need to feel you. And then boom, right by my bedside. Right there. Like, I swear he could have been standing there. And immediately when I felt his presence, I started to cry and I had peace. Immediately. The crying wasn't sadness. The crying was, I'm held. I'm okay. I'm good. And I curled up, like I was like in the womb, and I just felt him. He says, "You're going to be okay. Everything's okay. I am right here. I'm right here." And for us to think that that is a disempowered state or weakness, it saddens me. It saddens me because it brings me to a more empowered state. It brings me closer to God. It brings me into a calm. And it's okay if Jesus is what drops me into that, because there's going to be something that we use to help us right now, whether it's a different person, a meditation, essential oils, um, uh, kundalini practices, ayahuasca practices. We use things right now to help us. A lot of us do. We need that assistance. And there is nothing that has rocked my world in the most amazing, incredible way than that man. And so when he came in, everything's fine. My body relaxed. The anxiety went away. I'm not dependent on Jesus. I can close my eyes, breathe God through me, and I feel okay. But if I need Jesus, if I'm requesting him to come in and show me, okay, I'm here, everything's okay, I'm going to do it. No qualms about that. And my prayer is that people start to shift their lens around Jesus and around the program of him and his name. Because to me, thank you, Jesus. To me, it can be such a beneficial healing practice that is so available to us. It will immediately drop you, but it's a practice, right? It's a practice. It's a practice. It's a practice. It's a practice. It's like we have to practice. Um, and so those were my stories. Those were my 3 stories from Italy, right on time. I have 5 minutes left. Does anybody have a quick question? Um, Anybody have a really quick question before I get going? Um, the 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 lesson I learned the other night, right? Yes, he could, Brenda, 100%. I mean, I don't know if it will happen, but he has the ability to. 100%. Am I called to do the water fast? Yes, I was guided to do the water fast. I was guided to do the water fast because uh, getting a more clear and clean alignment with God and with Jesus and the book I'm about to write. So it was like, you need to go and literally cleanse out all this like parasitic kind of demonic energies that have been infiltrating your body for most of your life. Um, so yeah, I don't have it. It's upstairs. I don't have the Jesus picture, but it's upstairs. But I'll show it to you next Tuesday, Inger. So remind me next Tuesday, and I will 100% show it to you. Do I see the future that's coming? I do. I'd rather talk about that in another. I do see the future, Chaos 101. And I would love to share more about that. Amber Williams, thank you so much for that super chat. I would love to share more about what I'm seeing. So maybe I'll do another video on that or another live around that. Um, how do we aura rice? Steph, what is that question? When we are feeling so much in the body? Uh, why is it so hard to continue? Hi, Lindsay. Why is it so hard to continue to feel his connection when we're thick in life? Because we're we're in the distraction of life, whether it's a thought, whether we're trying to find a solution, whether we're trying to figure out what we're going to have for dinner, um, whether there's thoughts coming in about where you're going to go next with your business, whether you're thinking about how you're going to, resolve this relationship with your husband or your wife. There's all these things that are constantly showing up in the now, that in the thick of life, that distract you from remembering Jesus is right here. And so it's both. What you want to start doing, Lindsay, is as you're bringing awareness to being in the thick of life. So the more you can be aware of being in the thick of life, in thought, in problems, in annoyance, in frustration, in all of it, stress, anxiety. Okay, Jesus, just come sit with me. Jesus, just come sit with me. Jesus, just come sit with me. Walk with me into the kitchen right now with my children screaming. You have to bring Jesus into the chaos. You have to bring Jesus into the thickness. If you have the ability, Lindsay, where like for 5 minutes in the morning, you can just sit and just like breathe God through your body, do that. Just imagine you're breathing God's light through the body. God, walk with me today. God, walk with me today. And then throughout your day, how many times can you remember to invite Jesus in also, right? And just see how that feels, see what happens, see if anything shifts. I cannot tell you how many people have responded to me the last couple of months and they're like, dude, I did what you said. And like, I didn't really know if Jesus would come in. I'm not even sure my opinion about Jesus. And like, boom, he calmed me. I felt relief. I felt peace. I felt him. Um, Thanks, Connie. Did Jesus come from outside the 12th dimensional grid? No. Well, yeah, Amber. Um, This is what my next book's about, is all of this, like the the quantumness of this game, the role Jesus is playing, the spiritual battle. Thanks, Jessica, so much for that. So, oof, I don't want to trigger too many people, but I do believe that Jesus was chosen to come in as the embodiment of God. Now, the question then becomes, was Jesus as a soul or a spirit or consciousness already in the 12th dimensional grid and chosen? Or was that consciousness that we call Yeshua, Jesus, Ananda, was it outside of the grid and it came in? And if you don't know what the 12th dimensional grid is, go read my book or search my YouTube channel. You'll find the video. I don't know. I will get back to you. Ask me in a couple of weeks and I will have that answer. I feel like Jesus or Yeshua as that consciousness may have already been in the grid, and then source pulled him to be the embodiment of God in human in a very dense third dimensional world, not in the way that you and I are an aspect of God, very differently, like literally as the incarnation of God. I do believe that. So I don't think Jesus incarnated with an aspect of God. I think Jesus incarnated as God. And that is where humanity is going in a sense. Humanity is essentially not going to be God, but humanity is designed to be soul connected to that God spark, that God particle, allowing them to breathe God constantly through them so they are being God-like. I don't think any of us are actually God, the source of everything. That's impossible, but we are aspects of it. And we're designed to live as humans, God-like humans, which means that that God-like particle has to activate within us so that every second of every day, we are choosing how God would choose. And that's the evolution in human consciousness. We're moving back to that. By the way, we were already there millions of years ago in the fifth dimensional world, the Garden of Eden. We were already there. Then we fell, right? So I don't know. I think Jesus or Yeshua as a consciousness, as a spirit, was probably already in the grid and then chose that. I don't know. I gotta figure that out. I had a child with a darker source. How do I protect myself from it? I mean, if I were you, Morgan, I mean, I don't know your belief on Jesus. Call in angels and call Jesus in, but call angels in as well. If you're not sure about Jesus yet, call angels in. But I would also call Jesus in for protection. And I would just literally say, Jesus, protect me from, and say their name, protect me. This person isn't bad. Okay. The person that you need protection from, they're taken over by darker energies. It's not their fault. That's where compassion comes from, right? But you don't have to have compassion for somebody that may be mean or being harmful or doing all the crazy stuff. But um, ask God, ask Jesus, ask your angels to protect you from this person's energy over and over and over again. See if it works. Okay, you guys, there we go. Oh my God, it's so fun to be a child with Jesus. A little like excited, curious, fun. It's fun. It's fun. Um, I've never heard of the Urantia book. Pray for your child. Um, yeah, pray for your child. Ask Jesus to protect your child. That's what I would do. I would pray over my child 24/7. pray over your child in the name of Jesus, in the name of Jesus. And I know this sounds like super religious and weird and freaky, and people kind of like, no, it works. It works. Try it. And if it works, you'll be like, holy cow, this works. I think I'll keep trying it. Um, Thanks, Lily, for being here. Um, all right, you guys. Great to be here with you. Thanks for listening to my stories. Thanks for just hanging in there and walking through this curious evolutionary shift in human consciousness, staying open with me. I appreciate you very much. It's going to get really exciting. It's going to get really good. Um, and go get my book, The Divine Design, if you haven't. We're about to step into another book that we're about to write. It's going to be another mind blowing journey. And stay in compassion as much as possible, calm. Um, and there's nothing wrong with you. Nothing wrong with you. I'll see you guys next Tuesday. I'll be in Germany on the water fast. I might be dead, but I'm going to show up. I'll see you guys then. Mwah. Take care.